Hello everyone, BlueStarSaber here with RetroSpect Greg and LuckyRave to discuss a movie, not an anime or manga this time, or a live-action TV show from Disney+. No, we're here to discuss Transformers 1. Pretty much the new ritzy origin story movie told ritzy from the origins of Optimus Prime and Megatron, or as they're known in this film, Orion Pax and D16.
Yeah, this is all taken from. They basically want the aligned continuity to be the definitive Transformers lore from now on.
Yeah. Arguably, most of this film, yeah, as Greg has said, taking mostly inspiration from the aligned continuity with a few tweaks and differences from here and there. But basically, ever since the 2010s, Hasbro has been mostly trying to find this one specific set of continuity, and they've decided for most part the aligned continuity, as nearly every show has somewhat took an inspirational reference since then, as well as perhaps a mix of the movies. But the Transformers has had quite the history of movies. Of course, the cult classic 1986 Transformers movie set between seasons 2 and season 3, which has got a bit infamous for killing off Optimus Prime, and mostly for Hasbro's cynical attempt to replace the old toy line with the new. Unfortunately for Hasbro, they did not realize that Optimus Prime was a father figure to many young kids. As a result, it's the movie that made boys who cry. And parents who were angry. Then afterwards, Transformers just became a couple of shows for a while, some of them mostly done by Japan and Anime, who did a quite awesome 40th year anniversary video thing that recently came out just before this movie. And then eventually they decided to do, Hasbro got some, Paramount decided to do some live action films, which they had Michael Bay as the director, which has caused quite a bit of interesting reactions.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Yeah.
Generally, people at least very much like the first one, but when it comes to the sequels, varying degrees, either they love them or hate them, but eventually people got tired of them when it came to the fifth one.
Yep.
Afterwards, Transformers has had a bit of a struggle with movies, so let's see. On one hand, Bumblebee was well received and successful, but it did not make as much money as the other ones, though it was a spin-off prequel, if you will, that now might have become a soft reboot.
Well,
And then it had a follow-up sequel that had more of a mixed result, but still probably better regarded than most of the Michael Bay films.
Well, yeah, it's I don't know. That's because Lorenzo refuses to move on from Michael Bay films for whatever reason.
Yeah, and just to let's see, hold on, let me just see if I can find yeah. This, for those who are wondering who Greg is talking about, this guy here, Lorenzo Di Bavantana, who is pretty much the producer of Hasbro's G.I. Joe and Transformers. He's pretty much seems to be basically behind Transformers as let's see behind the scenes of the Transformers movie universe's direction. Let's see, and as Greg pretty much says, they pretty much wanted let's see, all the films to be connected to the Michael Bay films. Even by this point, they don't really match continuity-wise.
Yep.
Let's see, especially since the last, particularly Bumblebee, where Bumblebee came into the 80s, despite the fact that The Last Night had Bumblebee's new retconned backstory of him fighting in World War II, killing Hitler. But yeah. So basically, that's what happened. And then, of course, Rise of the Beast, I don't know, was supposed to be 3 separate movies, but all got crammed into one. Barely managed to break even, but yeah. So it seems like Hasbro afterwards decided that it was time to try and go back into like Transformers 1 territory, back to the animation film territory, and instead tell the origins of Cybertron for the Transformers characters, focusing more on Optimus Prime and Megatron, which I think for most fans probably have wanted something like this for a long time. That's why most of the first 5 minutes of Bumblebee was hyped, because it was Cybertron, and one thing would be no humans, since humans is partly the most controversial aspect of the Transformers franchise. Partly because, well, I think that most people find them a distraction from the characters we actually care about.
Yep. It's well, see, this movie kind of can't be in continuity with the live action films because Sentinel is killed at the end of this movie. Well, okay, that's spoilers.
Well, that's the spoilers before I got to the summary, but yeah, basically, Lozadem Barvatano was trying to make this as animated as a prequel to like the Bay films, but most people weren't really interested in that, and in fact, it might have put off some people from what I can tell. But yeah. But let's see, basically this film was announced and some of the casting was announced, such as Chris Hemsworth, let's see, Scarlett Johansson and Brian T. Henry. There was some sort of like mixed reactions from these voice casting, I think, at first, because Chris Hemsworth, mostly known for Thor, feels like a bit of too much of a comedy character.
Yeah.
And the first trailer, for most people, did not really help much when it was, for the most part, usually portrayed as comedy.
Yep.
Even though I personally enjoyed that, I found the trailer to be good, but it seems for most people it was not. It did not appeal to them. Granted, the second trailer was a bit more teasing of a more epic journey of like Optimus and Prime and Megatron being best friends first before the different paths changed way and they started having conflict with one another, because the first trailer kind of implied that the conflict would be against the Quintessons at the very least. But yeah. But yeah, after a bunch of trailers and also some critics saying that this film is the best Transformers movie ever, you got many people hyped, but we'll get more into that stuff later, because now it's time to actually discuss the summary of the film, in which we pretty much follow the adventures of Orion Pax, a miner who is a bit of a troublemaker, where we see at the beginning trying to find sneaking into the archives to find more info on the Matrix of Leadership, being stealthed by two guards. One of them, I think, might be called Darkwing, or might not actually be Darkwing in that part, but either way, but he's being chased, only to end up being saved by his friend D16, who would later be known as Megatron, who is quite the by-the-books kind of miner, if you will. Sometimes a bit annoyed by Orion Pax's troublemaking, but does have his back.
Yep. Actually, there's a funny line, like, skipping ahead a little bit, but it's like, oh, there are miners on the track, and it's like, oh, that kind of miner.
Yeah. Let's see, South Park made a similar joke. It's a bit unfortunate for that, but
yeah, it's like, I mean, it's spelled differently, but it's pronounced the same, so.
Yeah. But bad humor aside, let's see, basically, let's see, D16 is a huge admirer of like the Megatronus Prime, as Orion has like a sticker for him to be like to show as a friend, despite how Orion gets in trouble. D16 has his back, but Orion does come through for D16 now and then. We see them working in the mining thing for Cybertron, as of the loss of the Matrix of Leadership means that Energon cannot naturally throw through Cybertron, so they have to mine for it. Their squad is led by Elita 1, or Elita really, voiced by Scarlett Johansson, who's by strict follow protocol, not wanting anything sabotaging her possible promotion, which unfortunately happens when Orion Pax breaks protocol to try and save Jazz. And she gets fired by Darkwing and transferred to Waste. Afterwards, Sentinel Prime returns, who is considered the current leader of Cybertron, and is said to be the last of the Primes after the 13 were killed, and trying to find the Matrix, and everyone who pretty much admires him, particularly D16. And he's announcing the Iacon 5000 race. Orion Pax, being a little bit inspired about Sentinel's words of more than meets the eye, tries to convince his friend D16 to take part, but he has none of it. They go to the race. Orion Pax tricks D16 to taking it in after showing him a shortcut. they race a bit. Let's see, exciting all the minor bots around, minus perhaps maybe a liter, and perhaps getting Sentinel's interest at the very least, as they nearly win the race, even sabotaging someone called Darkwing during the whole race. But let's see, Darkwing during the race. But unfortunately, a transformer called Chromia just crashes into them, and they end up losing.
Yeah.
D16 is, and seems with his Lucky Chief for a second. I'm sure he'll join back in a sec.
Yep, he wasn't. Actually, his mic was muted, so...
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back in a sec. Let's see. D16's a bit mad because he thinks that Orion has screwed him over, but Sentinel comes in with, like, Arachnid is his right-hand bot, if you will. And he says he actually seems to be rather impressed by their actions, as thanks to them, miners are working much harder and managed to, I believe, 150% quota in like half a shift. So he promises to have like show them around the place and give them like quality things. So it seems like things are looking up for Orion and D16, but Darkwing suddenly shows up, angered about the race, throws them down to the lowest shaft, where they meet B127, or as would later be known as Bumblebee, but not really named in this thing here, who is quite the chatty robot who has been isolated with a few robots and has a habit of calling himself Badassatron, if you will.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It's like, they have those words in Transformers language.
Yeah, well, they seem to know the name Steve, as that's what he gave one of the little robot buddies he had, which turns out to have a message from Alpha Trion, requesting backup for where the Matrix of Leadership is. Orion convincing D16 and B127 to take this mission to try and impress Central Prime. Along the way, they encounter Alita in charge of the waste management on the track, who is reluctantly forced along when trying to stop them after she learns the mission, but she's calling the shots until they get there. During the trip, they arrive, they notice they find the Quintessons are still hanging about, but they're not quite sure.
Yeah.
Until they eventually came across the remains of the 13 primes, in which you can see their sort of like reaction to it, particularly D16's to like Megatronus's dead head, the transformer he admires most.
Yeah.
And then they find Alpha Trion sleeping, and they reactivate him with Energon, and that they spare Energon they had, where he reveals the truth to them that Sentinel Prime is not a true prime, and in fact has been has actually betrayed the primes, killing them, allying with the Quintessons, if you will, so he could take control of so he can take control of Cybertron, and in exchange he gives them the Energon that the miners have for the most part been mining, with only like a little scrap for the rest of them, in which they're growing a bit more frustrated, apparently, because they're not getting as much as they were promised. But as a result, Sentinel decides to have, double shifts, if you will.
Yeah.
But with like this revelation that Sentinel is a false prime and has betrayed everyone, we see many of them, their beliefs shattered or disappointed or shocked. D16 taking the hardest, in fact, the most angriest. Orion Pax kind of feel like he deep down knew, and the Eta and B are just trying to process it. Where Alpha Trion then reveals a more shocking truth, that these cogless miners who can't transform, actually, all Cybertronians are born with the ability to transform, but Sentinel, had just pretty much stolen their transformation cogs before they came online, and this seems to pretty much anger some of them further. But Alpha Trion, seeing the potential in each of them, and gives them each a transformation cog from one of the fallen primes, and then gives them recorded evidence of Sentinel Prime's treachery. As unfortunately as D16 inadvertently alerted Arachnid to their location a little bit earlier when he shouted traitor at Sentinel. her forces attack and ambush them, but Alpha Trine keeps them at bay while the others escape, seemingly getting captured by Arachnid, and then later executed by Sentinel Prime after a quick recap of when they last interacted. Let's see. Orion's group pretty much learned how to transform a bit in a sort of comedic manner in some regards, since it's the first time transforming. But after a bit of victory, we start to see signs of D16 getting angrier and angrier, showing more signs towards becoming Megatron, much to like Orion Pack's dismay. Let's see. They get ambushed by what's regarded as the High Guard, which is pretty much majority of the future Decepticons, particularly like mostly nearly every Seeker design you can imagine, and they are led by perhaps the three most famous Decepticons underneath Megatron: Soundwave, Shockwave, and of course Starscream, who is currently leading the High Guard.
Yeah.
Who have learned who witnessed the truth of what happened to the Primes, and have since been a sort of rebel force, if you will, against him. But it seems they may have become a bit radicalized after the events and after all those years of fighting, as they believe that the strongest strong over the others. Yep. D16, not really wanting to tolerate thinking that Starscream's full of it, challenges him, ends up defeating him and sort of gaining the respect of the High Guards, but showing more concern for Orion and his friends as Megatron's cannon comes out, as well as his eyes turning a bit of yellow to orange. But they get ambushed by Arachnid's forces. D16, Starscream, and B are captured while Orion is wounded, but and the evidence destroyed. But after a pep talk by Alita about how Optimus is Orion Pax has always seen the optimism in everyone, in every possible future, gets inspired and decides, hold on, I got a message from Lucky G saying, I'm good, saying he just got a message from Lucky G saying, I'm good. Just rather be at the desk talking and be in the backyard, so it may take a bit. You're still summarizing, right? I'm saying, yeah. Yes. Nearly done. Let's see. So, yeah. Hold on a sec. So, yeah. After Orion Pax has been inspired, let's see, rallies the rest of the High Guard. Let's see. After Alita punches Shockwave to plan to rescue their friends and expose Sentinel, as well as going to recruit many of the minor bots they work with, which many of them are many of the future Autobots you see in Generation 1. You see Ironhide, RC, Ratchet, Wheeljack, Smokescreen, Sideswipe, all that, telling them the truth of what has happened, and also getting a little payback at Darkwing. Meanwhile, Sentinel, B, and Starscream are prisoners with, for Sentinel, who mocks Starscream's now damaged voice, and also goading sort of D16, saying how he'll have them painted as traitors, and mocking him for the fact that he not only killed the Megatronus, but stole his cog. Orion Pax and his friends, and the High Guard, and Lita with the High Guard, enact their plan, keeping the forces distracted as they eventually manage to rescue D16B and the other members of the High Guard as the battle ensures. During this time, Orion realizes that Arachnid has pretty much recorded everything, so if they capture her and show her memories to all of Iacon, the citizens will turn on Sentinel, which you get Alita doing this while D16 fights Sentinel Prime for the most part. She captures.
I got a point about D16, but I'll get into that after you're done. Quick.
Let's see. Arachnid's captured. They use it to expose Sentinel's crimes to the rest of the Cybertronian citizens, and they immediately start turning against Sentinel, considering him a traitor. This distracts Sentinel long enough for D16 to get the upper hand, and is about to kill him before Orion Pax tries to stop him, thinking that rebuilding Iacon cannot start with cold-blooded killing, but D16 so angry with everything that Sentinel has done. Tries to shoot the Sentinel, but Orion stops, but unfortunately gets caught in the blast, and nearly losing like his arm and nearly like half his chest. About to fall, but D16 tries to grab him, shocked about what he's done and hoping that trying to save his friend, but the anger gets to him and decides that he's done saving Orion Pax, and have enough of like his getting in his way pretty much as he lets him plummets to his death. As he, much to the horror of Alita and Bumblebee, while the High God cheers on as he kills Sentinel Prime, ripping him in half. Taking his Megatron, his cog, and implanting it himself, declaring him Megatron. Meanwhile, Optimus Prime, Orion Pax, falls deep down to the core of Cybertron, where the ghosts of all the being dragged by Primes themselves there, as the ghosts of the Primus, of the 13 Primes, particularly Alpha Trion, saying, due to his noble actions, are trying to sacrifice himself to save not only his friend, but also his enemy, he is deemed worthy to lead Cybertron and worthy to possess the matrix of leadership, becoming Optimus Prime as he returns to stop Megatron and now the High Guard from destroying everything as Alita and B try to stop him. And now Megatron and Optimus have their first major fight. With like the High Guard joining in for a bit, but Optimus easily taking down each of them before finally disarming Megatron. Declaring him betraying not only Cybertron and himself, becoming like Sentinel, who has no choice but to banish him. And despite whatever regrets both have, Megatron vows that this is not the end to Prime, walks away as Orion looks on, saddened that he's not lost probably now his best friend, now become his enemy, remembering the first time that they met, swearing to have their backs for always. But at the very least, despite what he's lost, he's getting 2 new friends to count on. Promising Alita a promotion that she wanted, becoming commander, if you will, and B asking B to stay by his side to help him as he now becomes the new leader of Cybertron. The Matrix reactivates the Energon in Cybertron, as well as bringing transformation cogs to all Cybertronian miners, fully following their potential as Optimus Prime declares them Autobots and has all robots have the right to choose their freedoms, and lays a message warning to the Quintessons that they will be prepared, as he is Optimus Prime, as the post-credits scene show that Megatron has now reformed the High Guard into Decepticons, declaring to try and now destroy this new deceiver, Optimus Prime, as we see him telling the Decepticons to rise up, with his 3 now lieutenants watching as that ends the post-credit scene and that ends the movie, and that's what we have. So, yeah. Fort time. So, this movie, as many are saying, best Transformers film ever.
Yep.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, it's it's pretty good, but I'll always have a soft spot for the original 1986 film.
fair enough. And Lucky G has joined us. Hello, Lucky.
How's it going?
Fine. We just finished the summary of the movie.
Cool.
And now we're giving our thoughts. So,
well, my biggest only complaint with the movie is that I wish D16's reasons for becoming Megatron were a little more fleshed out, because it's like he's just really pissed at Sentinel, and it's like, well, okay, because it's like, well, I think that could have been developed better.
Okay, yeah, honestly, I would say the same thing. Is that like I will say for sure that D16 is at least to me the highlight. Him and like his relationship with Orion definitely was the big highlight. And now I did like his turn, but it did happen too fast.
Well, because D16 is going to be Megatron and Orion's going to become Optimus Prime.
Well, yeah, we knew that. I was just thinking, like, if you tacked on maybe an extra 20 minutes just to flesh it out a little bit more, I think it could have made it better. you know?
I'm not sure if 20 minutes might be a bit too long, perhaps maybe 10 at best. Though, granted, I will admit, this is the most common criticism I heard. Though I do think, in the film's defense, things go by very quickly there. I think it does force D16 to like process this all rather quickly rather than slow down and take its time, if you will. Especially since they got ambushed by the High Guard and then ambushed by Arachnid. So, yeah. But yeah, so Lucky Chi, would you say this is the best Transformers movie, or is the 1986 or the 2007 or Bumblebee your favorite?
Lucky.
LuckyRave? Hello? Okay.
I'm still here, don't worry. No. So what I was saying was that as far as I'm going to be in the minority here. I didn't exactly love the 1986 movie, in my opinion. Like, okay, the death of Optimus was one thing, but from like a story perspective, I was just like, I don't know. It didn't grab me the way I felt.
Oh no, the movie was very harshly received when it originally came out because they killed everyone you knew and loved in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, and let's see, also for being apparently a rip-off of Star Wars.
Like everything was ripping off Star Wars at that time.
Oh yeah, but basically, yeah. Most people, I think, most adults and critics just saw it as a cynical attempt of erasing the old toys to get in the new ones.
Oh yeah, that's exactly.
And I
what
can
it
see
was.
that. No, but like I was just saying from a story perspective, I was just like, huh, okay, this. Not gonna lie, kind of lame. That's me though. So I'll definitely say for me though, this I think supersedes 86 by that standpoint.
Fair enough. But yeah, I definitely say it's the film most hyped. I mean, I went to go see it twice, partly to try and help it financially, but also I just can't not help but watch as many YouTube clips as there's been on of there for the last few days, partly to keep myself recapped of like what's going on in the story. But yeah.
Here's the funny thing: like before all the casting was announced, the only thing I knew about Transformers One going into it was the director, and it was from the same guy that
did Toy Story 4, right? Lucky?
Yeah, same guy that did Toy Story 4. So I was like, well, now, okay, I'll say this. Was Toy Story 4 the best Toy Story movie ever? No, but as a follow-up to 3, I thought that was pretty good. So I kind of went in with an open mind thinking, all right, if he did Toy Story 4 and did a great job with that, this one will probably be around that same ballpark.
Yeah, it seems to be quite known well of doing characters in which, let's see, I will admit, the characters were quite good here. Particularly like Orion Pax, who, let's see, I think Chris Hemsworth did quite good with like the role he did. Many people thought I think many people were mostly worried about his voice because it's like he was a bit jokey, but I think when he's like being Orion Pax, it's like, you know what? This actually kind of works because Orion Pax isn't Optimus Prime yet.
Well, you also have to keep in mind these are like also younger versions of Optimus and Megatron, respectively. So
yeah, and depending on which Transformers media you talk to, particularly like Transformers Prime, let's see, Autobots that knew Optimus when he was Orion Pax knew that he was more like some of their, human friends, if you will. A bit young and experienced and a bit reckless. But yeah.
Prime, for me growing up, it was Cybertron. That was my show.
For me, it was probably Armada, but I also watched Cybertron. But yeah, no, Prime for me is the best incarnation of Transformers cartoons.
Oh no, 100%.
But yeah. But anyway, where I was going? Oh yes, but yeah, I do like how he's like pretty much the sort of troublemaker in the Transformers that everyone seems to know his name pretty much. Yeah. It's like, oh, Orion is at it again, or something like that.
I mean, look at it this way. Him and D16 are like, they both have polar opposite viewpoints. And when you get to the end of the movie, like it's like a complete switch. Like they become pretty much like an inverse of one another. And I was just like, huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
In some ways, that is kind of, let's see, what you kind of see, where Orion wants to try and do things outside the box, but D16, of course, is a firm believer of like the system, thinking that it works. But when that, when the lie has been revealed, pretty much he's completely, all his faith is shattered. He's angry and wants to burn it all down. But Orion sees there's a chance to try and change everything for the better. But D16 thinks that we need to start over from scratch. But it's, of course, Orion thinks that people just need to have their eyes open to the truth.
See, no. Here's what I will say. You could still have D16 kill Sentinel. That's not my issue. I think, and this is me, you could still have him kill Sentinel, but have him be like conflicted about what he did, and
Well, I'm not sure. To be honest, I can see him being conflicted about killing Orion Pax, but Sentinel, throughout the film, he's shown to be just fully angered by the betrayal that he's learned about him. That I don't think he could ever be actually reluctant of killing Sentinel. It's like Sentinel is pretty much the source of D16's rage.
No, I'm not. You're not listening. I didn't talk about that. I'm talking about like the aftermath of them killing Sentinel. I'm talking about that part in particular.
To be honest, I can't really see Megatron regret killing Sentinel. To be honest, I can see him regret killing Optimus Prime, but or Orion Pax, but I just cannot see him regret it. I just cannot see it. But yeah, one thing I think I like that's just see stark contrast between the two is how they end up inspiring their future followers. D16, it's by through strength and brutality, if you will, crushing Starscream. But Orion, comes to like his minor friend, tries to kneel down and talk to them face to face, tell him everything and saying that they all have a choice. Giving them an option to do so, and he inspires them that way, showing the sort of direct contrast between the leaders where Megatron, absolute control. Optimus Prime. Giving everyone a choice to follow. They're free to do so. You won't hold it against them. That kind of thing. But I also kind of like how, Alita kind of gives how Optimus is like, how's this sort of optimism, and it's like, okay, that kind of fits with like the whole Optimus Prime thing. I'm not sure if that was intentional back in the original Generation 1 thing, but I thought that was like a good sort of notice that they kind of did, or reference they did to the name Optimus with optimism.
I'll be honest, that kind of fell a little bit too on the nose.
I don't know. What do you think?
To me, like from a writing standpoint, I'm like, all right, I get it, but
I don't know. What do you think, Greg?
About think about what exactly?
The Optimus optimism Ritzy reference.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what Optimus is about. So,
But,
yeah, that's Optimus. That's why I don't like how vicious he is in the Michael Bay films.
Oh yeah, in many ways, Chris Hemsworth is probably arguably more of like the Optimus Prime that we know as the film goes on.
He's really Peter Cullen coached him on how a young Optimus should sound.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
So, like, but it's like, I don't know if this movie's gonna get a sequel, considering it didn't do too well at the box office.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a bit. Let's see, but yeah. So D16. Let's see. So we basically saw like mostly talked about Ryan Pax, but D16. I do like how let's see how he seems to like there's like a bot that follows the system. Then after betrayal, he just gets more angry and just like wants to burn it all down. And his highlight is of course his relationship with D16. But I do like how you've kind of also got the rivalry with him set up with Starscream down the line if they do take that path, or if they even get a chance to do so. When you see like Starscream was like that leader of the High Guard, but sort of D16 took that position from him. Now, granted, at the moment, from the end of the film, Starscream at the moment seems to be a very loyal follower of now the new Megatron, after showing that he can get things done by killing Sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, I think it's if the film, depending on how they do it, the film's going to have time going on, him getting fed up with Megatron and thinking he might be better to lead the High Guard or now the Decepticons as he did before. So in many ways, that does chance to set up their rivalry down the line, which has been most defining relationship on the Decepticons side at the very least.
Well, if there was one thing they absolutely had to get right, it was Orion and D16's relationship.
That was the big thing, was that in particular.
Yeah. In some ways, I kind of wish that Naruto and Sasuke's relationship was handled this well.
There we go again.
Okay, sorry, just that one joke. But yeah, for me, for many ways, it reminded me of like Anakin and Obi-Wan in some ways as well. But yeah, the other sort of best friends turned enemies.
Yep.
But, yeah.
All right, I got to get out of here in a couple minutes, so I'll just finish up. I think it's a great movie. If I was to rank them, I'd probably rank this below Bumblebee, and then rank this, and then the original live action film, and then I'd rather not talk about 2 to 5, honestly.
I'll say this, as far as the live action sequels go, I mean, look, obviously the first live action film is going to be the better movie, but if I had to pick like the second best after that, I'd go with Dark of the Moon, just personally.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, other characters to talk about would be B-127, who, unlike the sort of live action movies, who's for most part mute with the exception of a few films, is quite chatty in this one.
Yeah. All right, I gotta go. My friend's here.
Okay, sorry, Greg. Wish you could stay around, but I can understand you needed to go, your friend. Hopefully next time you have more time.
Yeah, sorry.
But bye for now.
Bye.
All right, LuckyRave, it's just now you and me.
Cool.
But yeah, Bumblebee, or B-127, or Badassatron, if you will, was quite the funny character. Or quite the comic relief.
I'll say this. He was funny, but I did kind of feel like no, don't get me wrong, the Badassatron thing was funny, but there was points where I was like, okay, if it were me, I'd cut it off just maybe once or twice. Just cut it off by like 2 lines and would have been pitch perfect.
Fair enough, but yeah. I do think the funniest moment with him is the fact that the High Guard sort of, strapped his mouth, if you will, as they pretty much gagged him because he wouldn't stop talking, and Alita ended up asking, even when he was unconscious, and Shockwave was pretty much, especially when he's unconscious.
Now that actually, that I did laugh at. I was like, okay, now that I buy 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love how the filmmakers have pretty much know that everyone, the mainstream audience, is pretty much mostly aware that Bumblebee is pretty much the silent mute character. So they pretty much do. We've got Megatron saying here foreshadowing, where he's pretty much the mute character, but here they've made him as chatty as possible. So I really like that. Granted, he doesn't have much direct ties in the plot of the film, if you will, but he is like the new sort of friend that Optimus makes after losing D16, as he gets readily excited for working for the government, yeah. And it is partly because of meeting him that Orion and D16 sort of see like the message from Alpha Trion, if you will. So I do like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. But I do like also that you've like a bunch of references to his mask and the knife hands. Or, well, actually, interestingly, I think depending on which country you're in, either Tretzi apparently change it to either knife or sword hands. Let's see. I think in the UK it's sword hands, but I think that's partly due to the fact that the UK has a bit of a knife issue, knife crime issue.
Interesting.
Well, hey, to be fair, Lucky Chi, your country has a gun issue.
Always with the political aspects with you.
No, I'm just doing that sort of commentary because of the whole knife and sword thing with the bumblebee. Let's see, but anyway, besides, you're the one that has an election coming up. Anyway, let's see. Moving on.
We talk political, guys.
All right, Mitzi. To be fair, they could say there's some working class struggles with the miners here, but yeah.
All right.
Anyway, moving on. Let's see. We've got Alita, the female lead of this film. Let's see. Arguably, probably her first major lead in Transformers media ever. Let's see. As we know, she was from the Gen 1, introduced as like the lover interest of Optimus Prime and the leader of a female group of Autobots, if you will. Though the toy line was never made, but partly because I think at the time Hasbro did not believe female characters would appeal to boys who their main target of demographic of toys were for. Now, granted, this of course slowly over time, but it was mostly RC that was the focus whenever it came to the female Transformers, though Alita over time became a bit more focused to eventually they started showing her a bit more. I think in the latest show, animated show, Earthspark, as Alita as one of the main Autobots that was on Earth with like Optimus's team and all that. So yeah, so this movie is arguably her first role, and in some ways, I do think it makes sense that Alita is chosen over RC because of Alita being more of a commanding type officer role kind of thing, which she does end up becoming in the end. But yeah, but it's kind of interesting. But what do you make of her relationship with Optimus in here? Because unlike the Generation 1, it's not really a romance, and it seems more like Alita does not really quite like Orion at first because of how much trouble he gets her into. But over the course of the film, comes to respect him and his optimism. He takes him as a leader.
I was gonna say this. I think even though they don't focus on it at all, I think there are a few crumbs here and there where you could take it into that direction, say for a possible sequel.
Yeah, I will admit. Let's see. At the moment, there isn't really any signs of a romance between the two of them developing here. I mean, it could be possible if they choose to go in that option. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But there is some building blocks towards it. I mean, when we first meet Alita and Orion Pax, Orion tries to compliment her, saying, "You look quite rather shiny today." And she's like, saying, "Don't patronize me," or something like that, saying, "We're not friends." Gets angry at him at first because, well, he gets him demoted. And then pretty much she's arguably the action girl type of Fitzy heroine, if you will, at first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Now, granted, I wouldn't say for some that say, "Oh, that's Mary Sue," blah 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 kind of territory. I think she is sort of like quick to anger in some ways. And let's see, she isn't, I would say, perfect, even though she does try to say she's better than Ryan in every way, except for like the optimism bit. But I do like how, in the end, she's pretty much more than ready to become sort of like Optimus's right hand, or Ritzy right hand after he asks her to join, and they become commander. And I do like how she's the one to, pretty much take down Arachnid, even though you could argue this is the film trying to do a female versus female trope fight. But, oh well. I do like how, she does play a key role of exposing Sentinel in that way, at least with Arachnid. Sorry, you were about to say something, Lucky Chi?
No, that was nothing yet.
Yeah, see. Yeah, Starscream, I do like how we get a bit of an origin to like his voice being so high-pitched because Megatron did it, which makes sense.
That, honestly, here's the thing, because I do kind of wonder if something similar is going to happen to Megatron, to where something happens to his voice and he gets the
Frank Welker one?
the Frank Welker voice. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I am curious about that. I wonder if Frank Welker was giving I believe it was let's see
Because remember,
Brian T. Henry the direction. So go on.
yeah, he was the one that, and he did a great job, by the way. I mean, look, Chris did an amazing job as Optimus, but I would argue Brian did a masterful job as D16.
Oh yeah, playing as like the sort of best friend that has your buddy's back, even if he gets you in trouble, kind of guy.
Well, no, here's the thing. I'm mostly familiar with him from Godzilla X Kong and Godzilla versus Kong. So,
Oh yeah,
because I was like, because when they said that he was gonna be D16, I was like, really, the comic relief guy? Now, I wasn't like most people who was like, oh man, this is dog shit. No, get it out of here. Unlike most people, I was the one that was like, let's see what he's got.
yeah.
That's kind of where I was at. I was like, let's just see.
I have to admit, I also didn't realize that he also played Jefferson Davis as well for Spider-Verse. But yeah.
That too.
So yeah, I was a bit surprised about that. But yeah, arguably this probably didn't help with people thinking that, oh, this is going to be a comedy film. But yeah, but I do think he played it. I think this shows that he can play a bit of a serious voice character when he needs to be.
I was gonna say, the marketing for this film was trash.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. There's still a few characters I want to talk about. Let's see. We finally got, of course, let's see, we have a bit of Soundwave and Shockwave. I mean, they were minor characters, but I do like that Shockwave seems a bit more comedic at the moment, despite being the scientist. But let's see. But I think that's because he was annoyed at B and then got punched by Alita. But we'll see what happens with them down the line. But I do kind of like how he tries to at first try to help Starscream before Soundwave says no. Let's watch this happen. Kind of situation, despite perhaps being like leading the High Guard with him for like years. But yeah. But other than that, I do like how we got Alpha Trion finally in the film. Now, granted, he serves as briefly as the Obi-Wan mentor figure, giving sort of the inspiring words that Optimus would use later with like the miners about it's not the cog but the spark within every Cybertronian kind of thing. It was a brief mentor thing. Though interesting, apparently that beast mode he had was apparently from a failed toy design that never got really published of his. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the Obi-Wan mentor role for this film, if only briefly. Now, granted, he can come back as a ghost pretty much for Optimus Prime and the Matrix and the other primes. But yeah.
See, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about Morpheus from Matrix. I was just like, okay, Morpheus. I'm like, don't. I was like, I know you too well at this point. That's some Morpheus talk right there.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I will admit, I don't know how to see. Let's see, but yeah, that could also work. But it still kind of baffles me how the original Gen 1 didn't do the Ghost Optimus thing more often.
I was gonna say, like, as far as especially with him talking about the Matrix of leadership, I'm like, okay, Morpheus, I get it.
Yeah. Now, anyway, it's I suppose the one other character to mention is let's see, Sentinel Prime, who seems to be a combination of all the Sentinel Primes that we know of.
Here's the thing. The fact that they even said Sentinel Prime was the movie, I already knew. I was like, hell, no surprise here.
Yeah, I think most people realize, okay, if Sentinel Prime is in this movie, he is very much likely the bad guy.
But here's the thing, though. as much as people want to shit on Dark of the Moon, I'll say this. While, yeah, his Sentinel Prime was a villain there too, there was a complete difference between the two of them. Because in here, he's just a dick. Point. At the very least, in Dark of the Moon, I don't care what he says, but his intentions, were they misguided? Sure, but you could kind of see that he did have noble intentions of, making sure Cybertron was okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big difference right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. It's like the Sentinel from Dark of the Moon arguably did betray everyone, but he was like for the good of Cybertron, at least in his eyes. Sentinel Prime in Transformers Animated, which he tried to one up Optimus as much as possible because he thinks he's better than him and thinks he's more deserving to lead Cybertron, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sentinel Sentinel/Zeta Prime in the Aligned continuity.
Yeah,
It's a sort of misguided leader as well. Granted, I think Sentinel was retconned to be like a sort of noble leader taking our speed before Optimus in the Generation 1 continuity, but let's see, I don't think they really gave the name of the character until Sentinel first appeared in the animated and Dark Moon universe movies.
Yeah.
As that's when they finally decided to establish this character. But this one is pretty much a combination of all. The ego of animated, the backstabbing of the Dark Moon, and the sort of corrupt leader in I think the Aligned continuity. In many ways, he is like the perfect foil to eventually cause the rift between Optimus Prime and Megatron, as one wants to try and just expose him and have him stand for trial, while the other thinks he deserves a grim and brutal end for everything awful thing he has done. In some ways, you can probably kind of see D16's side, even though that's probably more of your worst impulses. Let's see, let loose, if you will.
Definitely.
Because arguably, you want to try and be more like Orion Pax than or Optimus Prime than Megatron. So yeah, so I think it's kind of like he was like the perfect villain for this thing, charismatic enough to convince everyone that he is the he is a noble leader, but in truth the false/treacherous Prime. Which I will admit, it's interesting that for once, Megatronus did not become the Fallen, if you will, as he tends to do in Transformers lore.
Honestly, I think that was this is a quick side tangent here. I do think that was a missed opportunity for Revenge of the Fallen, was to name drop the Fallen being, Megatronus,
Yeah, you think that instead of the Fallen for Revenge of the Fallen, it should have just had him named as Megatronus Prime then?
I mean, here's the thing though, it's because I recently just went back and rewatched Revenge of the Fallen, right? And there's a weird double meaning behind it. Because while yes, it is about the Fallen, at the same time, Megatron gets his revenge too in that movie. So
yeah,
there's a double meaning there if you look at it.
Arguably, yeah, though granted it probably should have if I had to say, it probably should have I think the Megatronus name was not really fully decided on with the Fallen until the Aligned continuity came about.
Yeah.
So yeah, which I think it gets a bit of the sort of references. In many ways, Transformers 1 takes a lot from the Aligned continuity, like the T-Cogs, the 13 Primes, let's see, Arachnid, let's see, sort of Sentinels, shock troops, if you will, looking like Terracons. Or Verticons, I think they are. Yeah, I think Verticons. But yeah, there's quite a lot of like the sort of references, and also a bit of the like the Orion packs and D16 sort of thing. Now, granted, Orion isn't really an archivist in the Aligned continuity. He's more of a minor worker, like he was in I think the G1 thing. But he does have an interest in looking at the archives, so you do have that little reference. Let's see there. So I do like that. You still have like the Orion and D16 as friends, but D16 is not a gladiator. He's a miner. So you also have that bit there. Also, you have like the planet being, of course, Cybertron. Though granted, there's no hints of Unicron or stuff like that at the moment, though who knows, there might be down the line. Other than that, I'd say the character Darkwing is quite the dick throughout the film, where he's like firing Alita, throwing D16 and Megatronus. I mean D16 and Optimus down like the lowest level. One has to wonder if that was staged by let's see, Sentinel to do that, or did Darkwing do that with his own accord? In a sense, unintentionally causing the downfall of Sentinel's leadership with the Spyro events that happened for it. But I do think it's satisfying that Orion Pax finally gets Ritzy a bit of payback and punching him for all the trouble that all the pain that he's caused him in D16 when he was defending them from like Jazz and all that stuff. You still there, Lucky Chi, or are you there, Lucky Chi, or are you just not or are you still not absent? Because I'm curious what else to say. Oh yeah, I guess for the time being, while I'm waiting for Lucky Chi to come back, let's see, besides some of the Transformers that were mentioned in this film, or you saw briefly, you might recognize them depending on how well you know G1. You saw there was Jazz, who was rescued, RC, Blue Streak, Brawn, Firestar, Hound, Huffer, Ironhide, Mirage, Moonracer, Prowl, Ratchet, Red Alert, Sideswipe, Smokescream, Wheeljack, let's see, Sunstreaker, and Windcharger. Besides, for the Decepticons, you had Skywarp, Thundercracker, Dirage, Ramjet, Thrust, Slipstream, I think the female Starscream, if you will, and Redwing. And for the Primes, you have like Alpha Trion, Zeta Prime, Megatronus Prime, Alchemist Prime, Alamagos Prime, Liege Maximo, Micronus Prime, Nexus Prime, Onyx Prime, Primer Prime, Quintus Prime, Solus Prime, and Vector Prime. And many of them look like the designs that most people are familiar with for each of these primes, like Vector. And I guess Zeta Prime looks very much like Zeta Prime from the War of Cybertron games. The Quintessons are sort of like a more alien thing. They don't have like the 5-head thing, but I think they're more like sort of green alien thing designs. I think that's fine for what they've done. Granted, I'm curious to see if they have like Sharkticons and other things like beast-like Decepticon forces that they have that Cybertron, let's see, like they had in the Gen 1 continuity. Let's see, hold on, let me just message Lucky Chi. You there, Lucky Chi? Well, nope, it looks like he is still not about people, so it's taking a while for me to try to go on to the next bit of the film. I mean, of the review, if you will. Ah, you're back.
There's one Prime you're missing.
What's that?
Amazon Prime.
The greedy Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, I do like how let's see, Sentinel seems to have taken the role of betrayer instead of Megatronus, and this also might not even be properly a Prime, if you will, since he was the messenger of the Primes. But yeah. But anyway, I think it's now time to finally talk about the possible sequels to this film, because people have been hoping that this gets a sequel after seeing it, but that might not be the case, and partly that's due to the marketing. As you were saying, was atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
Now, arguably, it's because of the first trailer. Let's see, gave people.
Oh no, it was 100% the first trailer. Not argue, it was 100%.
Yeah. Let's see. That trailer, for most part, gave the sort of wrong first impressions for me.
No, because look, I would argue if you did the second trailer as your first trailer, no, 100% people would be on board with it.
Yeah. First impressions, unfortunately, it seems, though. Granted, I ended up liking the trailer, though I just seem to have underestimated just how much people hated that trailer.
Oh no! As soon as I saw that first trailer, I was like, "Yep, people are not gonna like this." I already knew.
Yeah. Well, I guess you seem to be more aware of Transformers fans in America, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the marketing team behind this film was not the best.
Fire them.
Yeah, everyone's saying fire them and
Fire
replace
them, burn them alive, burn them in oil. I don't care what you do. Just get them out.
Wow, you're dark. I guess that means Lorenzo di Bovinanta is screwed, but anyway,
I'm okay.
But interesting enough, there's been one person that may or may have not saved this film, depending on who you ask, at least in terms of promotion and marketing, if you will, is Transformers 1 hype guy.
Oh, I've been keeping up with them for a long time.
Yeah. Basically, for those who do not know, there's been this one guy who's been on Twitter.
Oh, Blue, don't sugarcoat it. Everybody knows who he is.
Okay. Yeah, basically, yeah. The guy who's pretty much gone on Twitter commenting on everything. Let's see, saying, go watch Transformers 1, particularly those who, reacted to the Joker film, saying how they hated that Joker film, and saying, go watch Transformers 1 instead, which, to be fair, I think some people probably wish they did.
Look, I'll say this. I know mad people were hyped about Joker 2. I was one of the few people who was like, really? Really? We're going to do a sequel to a one-off movie. Really? That to me felt like a cash grab already, just by the fact that we have a sequel to that.
Yeah, to be honest, I was never really a fan of the first Joker film. I will be honest.
Really? You didn't like it?
Yeah, I guess I'm in the minority. I don't know. I guess the slow burn of just seeing the Joker break down. I don't know. I guess it just didn't really sit well with me. Granted, there might have also been some comments by the director itself, but I don't know. I guess for me, it's just a film I just needed to see once and be done with it. Sorry, go on. Lucky?
No.
Lucky.
I was going to say that I didn't love Joker, but I do appreciate what it was doing as a film. I was like, okay, it's not the Joker, but trying to bring him into a more even more realistic, grounded respect than what they've done before.
Mm-hmm.
Do it in a way where okay, if it was the average guy, what would that interpretation look like?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I think, let's see, apparently some version of the Taxi Driver, from what I've heard most criticisms and being, I don't know. I just remembered some critics that I watched, particularly Movie Bob, did not like the Joker very much.
So this confirms one thing, people. Blue Star is a follower.
Oi. if that was the case, I would I would have followed everyone that hated the Star Wars prequels back in the early 2000s and 2010s.
I don't know, Blue. You were pretty much on the hype train for Last Jedi when that came out.
Okay, let's see. I'd say for Last Jedi, loved it first. Then I will admit, perhaps I may have ended up hating it a little bit afterwards when I thought about it, and maybe being influenced a bit by some people's reactions. But then I became a bit of mixed on it. It's like it's not the best film, but there's definitely some things like. But I don't think it's like the absolute travesty. Let's see. Arguably, I will admit, perhaps maybe doing what they did with Luke Skywalker is probably not what you should probably have done with that particular character. But yeah. Also, I think
No. People can bitch all they want about Naruto. I'd argue what happened to Luke was a lot worse. I would argue.
Yeah, I still remember the arguments you and For Life had.
It wasn't even an argument. I just said luck. Because it wasn't like even a debate. I was just saying, hey, I just think the couple of things they did, I was like, see, I decided to gel with it. That was it.
I know. It sounded like you and Sparta 3G were having a bit of a strong.
No. What him and James had. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Now that was that
was something concerned with.
Yeah, that pretty much kept me up all night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So yeah, but yeah, but yeah. Basically, this Transformers One hype guy's gone everywhere. All the Twitter hyping the film up. It convinced like YouTubers to go see it, promoting it, sharing it with others, and it seemed to at least get some attention that it got more people to go see the film. Though whether or not it was enough, who knows? Though at least it's been acknowledged by Paramount and Hasbro, it seems.
Yep.
It's got a few goodies, but yeah. Could a sequel be possible for this film? Let's see.
I mean, you could still go for it.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, the film has a budget of 175, though granted that some say it's 147. I'm not sure what that's about. It might be all the marketing behind it and the toys, though. But yeah, at the moment, it has grossed 124.4 million worldwide. At the very least, it seems to imply that it needs to make a 140 million to try and just at the very least break even. If the 75 million budget is the main issue that it has with this film.
Definitely.
So at the very least, it seems like if it breaks 140 million, it might just be enough to get a sequel.
It might.
But yeah, let's see. But also perhaps maybe some of the other merchandise does well. Now, granted, let's see. There's also like the mixed releases of this film because, well, let's see. America pretty much got out in September, but in places like my country, Europe, we did not get into like October.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, because I remember as soon as I got done watching the movie, I was like, dang, Blue hasn't seen it yet. That's a first. But then you told me that it wasn't out yet. I'm like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I was immediately going to watch it on the weekend that it came out in America, but not realizing that it was only in America. Otherwise, I would have gone out to see this film.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone to see this film as soon as I could, but I had to literally wait weeks. But as a result, I ended up getting like quite a fair share of spoilers on the internet, and it was kind of quite hard to avoid some of them. I mean, granted, I got didn't get the entire gist to see the film, but there were some bits that okay, so this is going to happen. Okay, so that implies that's going to happen. But yeah, basically, there. Granted, I think France is even apparently going in a later date than the UK. I think it might just be currently ongoing in France. So I'm not sure if perhaps the French could save Transformers 1 or anyone else, or if it's not, let's see, performing. I mean, there's still being some things. I think they're still being out in certain cinemas around, but I think it's in like its final days in the UK. I don't know if it's the case in America yet, because it's unfortunately also competing against the Wild Robot, which arguably for some saying might be DreamWorks' Pixar movie or best film yet, but at the moment it's competing against that, so it's like perhaps the time it's coming out, so it's also that, and also I think now in the US the sort of digital release has also now started coming out, which for some people think once that happens, that's the sort of death of films in the cinema. Lucky Chia there. LuckyRave. Hello.
I'm here. What's up?
Let's see. I was talking about how it's now the digital release for this film, as apparently as some saying that's usually the death of films in the cinema.
Yeah, and I mean, look, guys, I'll be real. I'm not big on the whole digital release thing. Because if I'm being real, and to be fair, I guess this is more so just me talking with how I grew up watching stuff. But before, movies would be in theaters for months. And I mean like 4 or 5 months at best. You don't get that now.
Yeah, arguably, I feel like the digital release was a bit way too soon, and probably should have waited a bit, at least a month or two before doing that, announcing that, before and let people go and see it in the cinema.
No, but not even just for Transformers 1, but like, okay, there was another movie that came out earlier this year called Fall Guy. Okay?
Yeah.
That movie came out, and I'm not even joking you, within a week, already digital release. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, that does seem to be a
Like, so for anyone saying, oh yeah, digital is the way to go. No, it's not. No. Get out of here. If anything, that's just ruining the whole theatrical experience, at least to me.
Yeah, and I think that's just you've got like Hollywood getting into conflict with Netflix over it with how they're releasing films now. Let's see that some films have refused to do exclusive deals with Netflix because they don't want the streaming thing to happen too soon. That undermines their box office performance.
That's true.
In fact, I'd argue that the reason why you probably had a few bombs this year and last year is because that people are just like, I come out on streaming, and now you only got a select few films, and that's why it seems at the moment only in the box office sequel films are doing well rather than original movies.
No, and and it's funny because I remember hearing about this, but apparently Margot Robbie told Netflix to fuck off because of that whole debate. They were just like, no, we're going to release our movies in theaters, and then you're going to get it.
Oh yeah, actually, they tried to do it. I heard that they tried to do an exclusive deal, but she was not having it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and yes, preach for that.
So
I know everyone wants to be like, but we get it sooner. Yeah, but you're hurt. But listen, the reason why we get.
Sorry, what?
I'm sorry to go into a rant about this, but
yeah, the
reason why movies are, get the sequels that they do is off of success. Okay? Off of box office success. If you can't do that, because, we're just going to wait till it comes out digitally, well, that's on you.
Yeah, let's see. Unfortunately, whether people like it or not, let's see, money talks when it comes to movie franchises.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And the reason the Michael Bay movies keep being made because they made near $1 billion, so actually do making $1 billion.
Well, okay, and here's what I will say. Okay, because a lot of people don't know this, but Michael Bay was done with Transformers after the third movie because if you look at the first 3 films just as a story arc for Sam, his arc was kind of done by Dark of the Moon, right?
Yeah.
And Michael Bay came out and said, I'm done. I don't want to make any more movies. And it was the studio, basically Paramount, that pushed them into making Age of Extinction.
Yeah, as a sort of soft reboot to begin like a new, and then Transformers 5, I think, was supposed to be set up as like to build a new cinematic universe. The biggest problem is that you kind of killed all of the Transformers that everyone liked to watch spin-offs of.
Yeah, so like that's like and I'll say this, like the first three movies, like here's the thing, there is some enjoyment, I will say, Revenge of the Fallen has. I don't see that from Age of Extinction or okay, Grant. I've only seen Last Night like maybe once, and while I did think Last Night was slightly better than Age of Extinction, just slightly. It still ran into the same problem.
I think for most people find Last Night to be more of a mess than Age of Extinction. I'll say this with Age of Extinction. I think one thing that it might have done a bit better than some of the other Transformers film is make a more tighter cast with the Autobots that you kind of got their personalities a bit more. Kind of like the first one, if you will. But yeah. And I guess a more human design to the characters. Also, I think Lockdown was a bit more of a, let's see, focused villain.
If you say Lockdown was a better villain than Sentinel Prime, I'm going to be like, stop there, Blue.
Let's see. No, I wouldn't say. I think he's better than I think the Fallen at least.
Oh no, 100%. I will say that he is better than the Fallen, but like if we're talking narrative-wise,
well, I definitely say he definitely has the best villain's theme in the films.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, yeah. Arguably, but yeah, I definitely say another aspect is perhaps some people just become fed up with the Bay films. In fact, that I think Lorenzo Di Bofantana tried to make it like a part of like the Bay films that also hasn't helped. But
also, we have.
Sorry, Ron. Lucky Chi.
Okay. Also, here's the big thing: the fact that you had to legalize a 17-year-old hooking up with an adult. I was just like, what?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
I'm sorry, Blue. Like, it's now. Here's the thing. Usually, because I know that's usually a case for Blue, but for me, I'm like, what?
Okay, I will admit, at the time when that film came out, I didn't quite realize what that was, to be honest, because I don't think I quite realized the context of it. But I will admit that is one aspect. It's like now it's like oh dear.
Well, okay. Here's the other thing. That film, Age of Extinction, right?
Yeah.
Was nearly 3 hours long. And I'm like,
yeah.
I know, like, there is no need for that to be that long. No need.
Yeah. It's like, where's the damn Dinobots? But yeah.
Oh, don't even.
But, yeah.
Thanks for reminding me about that because, dude, you know how long I waited to see Grimlock on the big screen? I waited years for that.
Yeah.
And what happened to the Dinobots? They get the Venom treatment from Spider-Man 3. And I'm like, get out of here. No.
But yeah, I definitely say let's see, Age of Extinction. And some questionable decisions though, granted, I think many people think Bayes generally has some questionable decisions. Let's see with like its films, but yeah. I definitely say
Look, but before anyone talks about the whole sexy shots that happen in the films, as far as the original trilogy goes, that's understandable because Sam and Michaela were like right around the same age. I get that. I kind of get it with the second one too. And 3 makes sense because Sam's an adult. He's trying to find a career or whatnot. Okay, I get that. But Age of Extinction?
I know. It's the yeah. I will admit, I'm surprised Hasbro allows some of these stuff because they're trying to sell toys here to kids. Do they want that stuff in their films? But yeah, I didn't quite get it. I didn't quite understand it at the time. I will be honest, but yeah, looking back, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. For me, let's see. Like it comes to like the fan service when it's like an anime. I don't mind it as long as the characters are 18. Let's see. It's like if you're gonna do this with like a romance like this in Transformers, at least make sure the characters are 18.
No, and here's the thing. They specifically stated that she was.
She was what? Lucky you've cut out there for a second.
Okay, like they specifically said that. Oh my God, what was her name? Tessa. She was 17. They specifically dropped the age. Yeah, she was 17, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay, that ain't weird at all.
Yeah, I don't know if that law actually exists in real life, which is like okay, then let's see.
Yeah, okay, look. If you had said that her boyfriend was like say 18, okay, not a huge stretch. I can understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think let's see. Some people can buy it even if they like hoping that it doesn't cross a few lines, at least until both people are like the age of 18. Which but still, but yeah. Let's see. Arguably, let's see, yeah. Let's see, 1 year apart, I think some people can probably understand it, but yeah. But anyway, where was I?
Sorry to go off on that tangent, Blue. It just crossed my mind. I was just thinking about it.
But yeah, enough about let's see age of like certain people and like and all that. But back to like let's see the marketing. But yeah, I mean, granted, let's see, Age of Extinction still ended up being the highest grossing film of the year. Which
Wait, you also have to consider this is that like it was coming off from like when did Dark of the Moon come out? 2011. That's like what 3 years later.
Yeah.
So it is like it wouldn't.
So what?
So when you consider that it's a follow-up and that it's a soft reboot, it's been a few years since you had a Transformers movie, so it's like, well,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Anyway, moving let's see back to the thing. So yeah, let's see one aspect. Let's see, people sort of gotten probably sort of fed up with Michael Bay like Transformers movies, if you will. Particularly after the last night. That was not of interest. But I think another problem this film had, and I know this because I ended up talking to both one of my mom and colleagues, is that let's see, they would not watch this film because it's animated.
that is. I'm sorry. That is one of the most dumbest excuses I've ever heard.
Well, and let's see, well, lucky let's see. I think there are some people, and I think my mom is like this, is pretty much
what animated films are for kids? Is that
I think yes. I think that is still a mindset that is still about whether we like it or not. I think that the animated films would be too comedy or corny driven, if you will. I mean, let's see. For me, particularly my mother will not watch anything that's animated or anything with talking animals. Or anything that might be too corny, which unfortunately has become quite a lot of the Marvel movies lately.
I mean, she ain't wrong about that from the Marvel side of things.
Yeah, I mean, she literally said that the Marvels was the worst girl power movie she's ever saw.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but yeah, she would see if she would have watched this movie if it was in live action. And this is the same, let's see, with one of my colleagues at work. They would have probably considered this film in live action. But let's see, since it was animated, they don't know why it was done in animated. Let's see, they decided not to watch it, even though I did try to persuade that. Like I even tried to persuade my my sort of boss, if you will, who's a huge Transformers fan, to watch it. Now, granted, he would watch it in the cinema. He just didn't have the time because of personal things. But
I mean,
so
but
he's
see,
going to buy. So he's going to buy it digitally, at least to try and somewhat support it.
well, see, that's understandable. Like, if it's because like you have stuff going on in life, I get that. That's understandable. But as far as like, nah.
But yeah. But I think unfortunately some people, like Ichi, just refuse to watch anything animated. And I think since Transformers has been in movies live action for so long, people just kind of like want live action films. And there are probably some people, even though the Bay films have sort of won favor, there are probably some that want the films to be more like the Michael Bay movies. Probably why you got like Lorenzo Di Boffinara trying to get them to be more like connected. So go on.
I'll say this: if Dark of the Moon was the last Transformers film that we had gotten, and then you had Transformers 1, that would have been like what, a good 13 years. I would argue you'd have a much better box office reception because it would have been 13 years. And again, I know coulda, woulda, shoulda. Obviously, we're not in that timeline. I'm just saying that if that's the scenario we were in, I think people would have been like, "Oh, okay."
I think if perhaps the film came out a bit earlier in the year, maybe all in multiple cinemas all at once, say like July or August, if you will, I think it would have done better. As well as like if you got that second trailer, like you said first, I think it might have done better. Now, how well it would have done, I'm not sure. I'd say probably the max this film could probably do is 300 in the box office. But yeah, if it was done well. Now, granted, I will admit. But yeah, let's see. So yeah, no, granted, I do think there was also perhaps maybe some critic reviews that might have also affected it. Now, granted, most of them were positive and saying it was the best film yet.
You also have to factor this in.
Mm-hmm. Factor what? Lucky Chi, Lucky Rave. Lucky Rave, you there? Lucky Rave. Folks, Lucky Rave has muted himself, and as a result, we are a bit delayed. Let's see. Hello, Lucky Rave. Are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, folks, we have lost. Oh, we've got someone called Fallout. Hi, Fallout Queen 2005. How you doing? As you can see, we are just reviewing the Transformers movie, Transformers 1. Though, granted, we're having some technical difficulties on my partner in crime, Lucky Rave, who's just sort of disconnected and is, let's see, just as we're talking about the box office performance of Transformers 1, and you're saying, ooh, you are good. Okay, fair enough. What are your thoughts on the Transformers movie since you are commenting here? And Lucky Rave is back.
Phone calls, gotta love them.
So yeah, you were saying Lucky Chi?
Well, here's the funny thing, is that originally it was supposed to come out July 19th.
It's supposed to come out on July 19th. Did you say?
Mm-hmm. It was supposed to come out in the summer. But it got delayed.
That delay might have cost it some revenue, I think.
Well, you also have to take this into account too. September for a lot of movies, and I hate to say this, it's a dead month for a lot of movies because people are going back into school, they're going back into work, stuff like that.
Okay, Fallout Queen says, my thoughts on Transformers 1 is that the movie was awesome, and D16 betrayed Optimus. It's kind of sad in the middle scene in Transformers 1. Fair enough, I can see that and sort of agree. But yeah, so another aspect is the box office, but yeah. Though, interesting enough, it might be possible in the last few weeks, it might just break even on 2016, and but yeah. Granted, talks about a sequel, like in April, stated that there's a discussion for Transformers 1 to become a trilogy of films, and talking about the progress. Let's see. Christopher Hemsworth's description of Optimus Prime must have grown more into like the Peter Cullen's voice, where it makes sense. And in September, I think Di Bavana confirmed that they will make a Transformers 1 sequel if the film turns out a success, with the filmmakers already devising ideas for a character-driven sequel like its predecessor. So there are some ideas to a sequel. It's just gotta be there will be
I
a
mean,
sequel.
and I've heard them talk about this too. So what they mean by having ideas, it's more like little like bullet point ideas of where they could take the story, where they could take the sequel. Not necessarily that they have a script in mind, but just like, little ideas of like, okay, if we want to go somewhere.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, now
Although I will say this: if a sequel was to be made, I could see it being a case where Optimus does try to find some good in Megatron. At least he tries to, and it's like his coming to point moment of, okay, my best friend is like actually like gone. Like, think about it like with how Obi-Wan was in Kenobi with Anakin. Like, remember, like the second he found out Anakin's alive, he was like, oh shit. I gotta try and convince him. You know?
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. And I can see that being a case. I think it'll also be a bit of a war of the Quintessons before eventually becoming a war of the Decepticons, I think.
Yeah, that too.
So, let's see. I think that aspect will be there. But
do you see that being a scenario where Optimus and Megatron do team up?
I think there'll be a sort of reluctant team up, but I think eventually it will come to conflict again of how to handle the situation.
Yeah.
Where it eventually becomes an open war between the two factions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Now, who knows how that will take place? But yeah. Now, granted, if it does make enough money, we could get a sequel to cinema. Now, granted, it could be possible that it gets a lower budget. Oh yeah, which makes me say the animation's quite good in this film, as well as the action scenes. Particularly, my favorite one is Optimus taking on the 3 Decepticon High Guards when they're in the middle of the Megatron fight.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, but and the racing was probably my favorite race since the Star Wars pod races. We got How Clever saying howdy there. We're just reviewing Transformers. But yeah. Anyway, Lucky Chi, can you give your thoughts a bit about some of the action scenes and the animation for a bit? Well, I just just do something quickly while I mute myself.
Shoot. I'll say this. I thought the action sequences were pretty good. Pretty top tier. I don't have a lot to delve into for that, per se, for me personally. But, I mean, the big standout for me, obviously, is the confrontation between D16 and Sentinel, obviously. And the end fight scene, too. Quick little skirmish you had between, Megatron and Optimus. That was a real standout, too. But other than that, like, I'm not really quite sure what more I could talk about from the action standpoint outside of that. I mean, I'll say this, it's definitely the best action we've had in the movies. Definitely. But it kind of goes without saying. I don't know. What about you guys?
I'm back, Lucky Cheese. Sorry about that. It's just taking. I just had to just do something quickly. And how Clever saying how you're all. We're doing fine. We're just reviewing this film of Transformers 1. But yeah, we're probably going to be wrapping up soon, but best Transformers movie by far. Yeah, I kind of agree with that sentiment, but yeah. But yeah, anyway, now granted, it's possible that it could get a lower budget sequel, maybe if it just try and break even, or maybe just try and get Hype Guy to do the marketing from now on. Hire Hype Guy, Paramount. You'll probably get that sequel much more successful. But it's very possible that if it doesn't do well, it could be, instead of cinematic, it becomes a more digital or TV release kind of movie.
That's possible.
If they do that, or possibly become a new Transformers show once Transformers. Let's see, dude, what was that marketing? But like becoming like a sort of new TV Transformers animated show after, I guess, Earthspark has finished, as that's the current Transformers cartoon right now. I mean, those are the possibilities where they could go with like a more future down the line sequels. Though, granted, that probably will mean that there'll be less, movie quality animation in terms of the design and characters. But it could at very least you still could get those character-driven stories. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Would you be up for that, Lucky Rave, or would you rather like have a more cinematic experience?
I'd go with the more cinematic experience.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. But if that was not possible, would you rather have like TV or digital like streaming thing, or even TV show?
I mean, as like a last resort option, yeah, probably a TV show.
Yeah. How Clever says, to be honest, Earthspark is kind of mid. Optimus' face looks like something from the Doctor Nowhere. Okay.
I mean, I haven't seen anything Transformers animated related since Prime, so.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Well, yeah, to be fair, I didn't really watch Robots in Disguise because its tone was just very different compared to Prime. And also, not really. There are certain characters that did not return that probably should have returned for that one as well. I saw the first season of Transformers. What was it? Cyberverse. But I didn't really get into like the later ones, even though it was arguably the first Transformers cartoon not to really have any humans in it, even if it was on Earth. Let's see. And Earthspark, I have watched some of the first season. It's okay, interesting how you have Megatron's a good guy, but how Cleaver says, I have to say, I feel like Prime was a hit worse than people truly remember. Are you implying that Transformers Prime is not as good as everyone says it is? Okay, that's interesting. To be fair, I do say, I think when it comes to Transformers shows, it's Generation 1, that's Beast Wars, and I think animated that are often regarded as the best. Transformers Prime could also be in that category, though I do know some people are critical of Season 2 in certain places. But yeah, back to like the Transformers movie. Is there anything else you wish to say about it, Lucky Chi? I mean, Lucky Rave.
I feel like we've kind of covered everything.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think we have, and we're nearly as long as the runtime for the film, actually. So I think it's probably time to wrap this up. So yeah. So to score, how would you give Transformers 1?
I'd give it an amazing.
So 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 9 to 9.5, maybe.
The only reason why it doesn't get a pure perfection is because I do feel like you could have fleshed out a little bit more things, just here and there. But you know,
let's see. Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 9 to 9.5. Let's see, nearly a 10, but just not quite there.
Now, where would you rank them?
Let's see. Oh, hold on. First, I'm going to ask this question. What game would you guys like to see Transformers doing a collab with? Ooh.
Good question.
Well, I wouldn't mind another War for Cybertron game, though I still need to play like the first two a bit more. But I guess if I had to say, I guess maybe an open world Transformers game, maybe.
That would be interesting.
Now, who would do it? I'm not sure. Maybe, let's see. I guess BioWare for an RPG one. I guess
It wouldn't be Naughty Dog. I'll tell you that.
I take it because of The Last of Us Part 2.
I mean, if this was Naughty Dog, like back in the Uncharted days, like even like say the first Last of Us game, yeah.
I guess maybe a sort of Ratchet style Insomniac game would probably do well.
Yeah, though if you go the see, and I say this, but I do like Insomniac Spider-Man 2 story. But if you go that direction, and I'm talking more so like appearance wise, you're gonna get a 50-50 split from people. It's like, really? We go from the first game to this? This is what they look like? Huh.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't gel well.
Fair enough. How Clever Foon says, to be honest, looking like Brawl Stars X Transformers before a good Transformers solo game. Did people like Transformers Devastator? I think that was what it was, or something.
Good question.
But anyway, I'd say that game might be. Let's see, those games might be more well received. But yeah. So anyway, what were you saying before that question about the game, Lucky Chi?
Which one?
Oh yeah, ranking the Transformers movies.
Yeah.
To be honest, it wasn't that bad. Galactic Trials was kind of bad. Is that the one with the racers at the moment? I know there's a Transformers racing game coming out, but yeah. But anyway, in terms of ranking these Transformers movies, I'd probably put Transformers 1 as the top, Bumblebee as a close second, the 1986 film, let's see, Rise of the Beast, Transformers 2007, let's see, Dark of the Moon, let's see, Age of Extinction, Revenge of the Fallen, and The Last Night.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, you answered my question. So yeah, that might be a bit controversial in your take, because I think, let's see.
I feel like I'm gonna have the most controversial take out of anybody. But,
okay, go ahead and say it.
Okay. Transformers 1 obviously going to be at the top. Obviously. Then I would go... Let me think more on this. Okay, yeah, Bumblebee being 2. The 2007 Transformers movie being 3. Then Dark of the Moon. Then Rise of the Beast. And I think I already made my point clear on this, but the 1986 animated film, that'd be next. And what's after that? Revenge of the Fallen? Revenge of the Fallen. Last Night, Age of Extinction.
Okay, so let's see. Let me just double check. Transformers 1, Bumblebee.
Yes.
2007 Transformers.
Yes.
1986. Or was it Dark of the Moon?
Dark of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon. The 1986 one. Then Revenge of the Fallen. The Last or Rise of the Beasts.
Actually, Rise of the Beast was above the 1986 one.
Let's see. No. Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Transformers 1, Bumblebee, 2007, Rise of the Beast, 1986, Dark of the Moon, Revenge of the Fallen, The Last Night, and Age of Extinction.
Almost.
Let's see. Okay, somewhere along the lines. How Clever says Transformers 1. Let's see. Dark of the Moon is number 2. 07 is 3. Age of Extinction is 4.
Really? That high?
Let's see. BMB. I'm assuming is that. Let's see. BMB.
That's Bumblebee.
Bumblebee as number 5. Let's see, Rise of the Beast is number 6. Revenge of the Fallen is number 7. 86 is number 8, and The Last Night is number 9. Okay, that's a very interesting list there. I mean, okay, let's see, the first 2 spot, because it's like, Transformers 1, okay. Dark of the Moon, okay, that's an interesting for number 2 spot. Let's see. 07 is number 3, but okay, fair enough. That's an interesting spot, but yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that's kind of interesting because like not many people normally rank 86 as in the low tier. Now, granted, I did see full fat videos who, let's see, rank, I think, Rise of the Beast as the lowest Transformers movie. I think it's because it says like it's trying to be like a Michael Bay movie without sort of like the Michael Bay flares to it. But yeah, something like that. But yeah, either way, I think that's pretty much everything to wrap up with the Transformers movie, Lucky Chi. Thank you for having me, and thank you, RetroSpect Greg, for joining us. Granted, you were busy with your friends, so who knows? I might do a follow-up discussion video just to give you, so you can say some of your thoughts on like the possible sequels and the marketing. And I want to thank the audience that was listening here, particularly a user that called Megatron. Let's see, Fall Art, and of course, Howler Clever, who had quite a lot of comments to say here. And there's one more saying here, the concept was so fresh with, let's see, Age of Extinction, introduced a very war-hardened Optimus. Robot, let's see, Rise of the Beast was kind of a hot mess. I love 86, but it shows. Yeah, YK, 80s. More or less.
It's in that order, Blue, if you got it.
Sorry, what?
I said it's in that order, if you can see it.
Okay, Helen. Private chat. Okay, Transformers 1, Bumblebee, 2007 film, Dark of the Moon, Rise of the Beast, 86 film, Revenge of the Fallen, Last Night, Age of Extinction. Okay, fair enough. Mm-hmm. That's your list, Lucky Chi. Yeah. But okay, that's a very interesting take on like the thing. I will admit, let's see, Age of Extinction, I did think it did something interesting with Optimus Prime, where it's like he's finally just had enough of humans after all the sort of times he's tried to help them and they still turn on his kind. So I do kind of like that little thing. I just feel like it could have been explored better. Oh yeah, How Clever saying, thank you guys, you're all cool. Thank you, How Clever, and we hope to see you next time when we discuss maybe Transformers or other movies or even maybe anime and manga stuff, as that's what me and Lucky Chi normally do. I mean, we got something planned, I think, next week, and even on this weekend on his channel. And who knows, we might try and discuss more Transformers stuff down the line. But for now, and I think Lucky Chi's family is in the background. LuckyRave. Lucky.
What's up?
You kind of had your like family in the background, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There, but let's see. Anyway, I was just saying, we'll see you guys next time. Though we do have some other things planned. Maybe some Transformers. Maybe some Transformers things down the line. Though we've got something else planned next week, and also something on the weekend for your channel. But okay, and the one last comment from How Clever saying to leave off. My hot take is that Lockdown is glazed. I low-key hate him. Fair enough, but yeah. But yeah, Lucky Chi, we will probably be here and see on my stream channel next week, where we discuss something else. But who knows, we could discuss more Transformers stuff down the line, possibly with Greg or maybe some other films. But we have something over T planned that you're gonna do on the weekend, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Which I believe I will be there, though I do have a COVID shot I need to take first, but and flu shot. But yeah, other than that, thank you for everything. Oops, another comment saying, MB, if it's too chatty, you do not have to address this comment. Sorry. And now I'm saying I'm BlueStarSaber.
I'm LuckyRave.
And we are signing off next time. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening, even when I'm starting rambling at the end. Let's see. Goodbye for now, till all are one. And with that, we are done.
Laters.